So, how do you realistically, as an international student, go from working a part time job to a full time job? You see, many international students, when they move to the UK, the first thing they have in mind is I need to get a part time job so that I can pay the bills, I can pay my university fee, and I can pay for food and accommodation. That's the first thing. You know, they don't really bring a big amount of money to the UK from like India, Pakistan, or wherever you're coming from, and they need to get a part-time job. I've seen many students go into retail. I've seen many students go into warehouse. I've seen many students go into security jobs and continue working that job until they pay off their loans. Now, what I tell students is that if you're doing a part-time job to pay your bills, that's really good. Pay your bills, pay your university fee, whatever it is. But also keep in mind that you want to get a part-time job that is ideally somewhat related to the job that you want in the future. And if it can't be somewhat related, at least make sure that it is somewhat of a job that has transferable skills that can be applied to the full-time job. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be working a warehouse job and applying to data analyst positions and then thinking, should I put this part time job on my CV or should I not? Because at that moment, you're like, well, there's no transferable skills. I didn't do anything in my warehouse job. So, how am I going to apply to full time jobs properly without showing UK experience? Let me give you a good example. If someone's going for a customer success manager role and they go and work at BT as a customer service advisor, the transferable skills are there. You can actually show that you've dealt with customers, you've handled clients in the past, you've given them advice, you've made sales, you've generated leads. And that can also translate over to marketing roles. So if someone's working a customer service role and they want to apply to jobs in marketing, there's a correlation there. But if someone's working a security role and they want to go for a data analyst position or they want to go for a civil engineer position, what transferable skills are you going to show? Because in security, there's nothing, right? It pays the bills, yes, 100%. But what transferable skills are you going to be doing? And that's why I always tell everyone, if you want to transition from a part time job to a full time job, right? The transition. What is the transition? The transition basically is making sure that you've got the right skill set to apply to the full time job. Now, this is exactly what I did. I was doing a part time job. And I was like, okay, so what can I do? I can take my leadership skills, I can take my customer service skills, and I can take my teamwork skills, as well as my problem solving skills, and I can apply it to the different roles that I want. I had four different, soft skills that I could apply. And I said, okay, fine, let's take these four soft skills and apply it to the different roles that I want. The role that I was going for was super, super technical. It was literally a very technical role, but I still made sure to include soft skills wherever I could. And if you can include soft skills properly, then you can do really well. Because soft skills is essentially what gets you the job. Okay, so always remember, soft skills is what gets you the job. Technical skill is what gets you the interview. Anyone can learn technical skills. Technical skills are learned within your degree. Technical skills are learned from free courses online, and technical skills are learned by doing paid internships, unpaid internships, and so on. What do you have to keep in mind if you want to go from a part-time job to a full-time job? Ideally, try to reduce the number of hours you're doing in your part-time job, because the number of hours directly correlate to how much time you can actually spend on looking for a full-time job. Okay, so if you're working, let's say, 20 hours per week according to your student visa, fine. But if you're on your PSW and you're working more than 20 hours per week or you're working full time, how are you going to dedicate time to look for a full time job? That's number one. Try to reduce the number of hours you're doing. Yes, you're going to take a pay cut, but in the long run, it's going to help you better, because then you're going to be able to find jobs that can actually sponsor your visa. Because there's no point of working a part time job that pays your bill on your PSW if you're not going to be landing a sponsored job in the future. Then you're just working a job just to pay off your loan. And in the end, the last thing that you're going to be doing is taking a flight back home to your home country. And then you're like, well, what did I do the master's for? So try to keep that mindset, is that I'm here not just to pay my bills, but I'm here to build a life in the country that I've permanently moved to. So skilled worker visa is always the end goal. So think of that. Skilled worker visa is always the end goal. Now, the other thing students and graduates and professionals need to realize is that not every part time job is supposed to be on the CV. If your part time job is not relevant, literally has no relevancy, then don't put on your CV. If your part time job is the only UK based experience you have, then try to put it on your CV, but only put one or two bullet points for the CV for it. And if your part time job is literally the only job that you've not done any experience from back home, you don't have any skills, you don't have any relevant stuff, then your part time job has to go on your CV and you have to write at least three bullet points minimum trying to showcase soft skills. Now, soft skills, the way that you pick them are always according to the job description. If the role doesn't require leadership, what is the point of putting that specific soft skill? That's going to do nothing. So make sure when you're picking the soft skills to put on your CV, you put a good two to three soft skills and ideally talk about it in somewhat of a technical way. All right. So, really think about how you're going to be transitioning from part time to full time. Because the main thing here is try to reduce the number of your hours. Don't talk about your part time job if it's not relevant. Include it if it is, but don't include it if it's not. The third most important thing that I tell all students is that part time job should ideally not be at the top of your CV whenever you're talking about it. That's why create a separate section, call it other experience, call it non relevant experience, call it leadership experience if you have to, and put it on your CV. All right. The fourth thing that is super important, let's say, for example, you're working at McDonald's, you're working as a crew member. The title crew member is not good. Don't put the exact title on your CV because if you put crew member, they're going to know you're working a job that is not skilled at all. So put the closest thing that is aligned to the role that you want. Now, you could be going for a professional role. My advice is if you can tweak the crew member role name to something that's relevant, like maybe customer service representative, it could possibly be better. And the results that you get on landing interviews and jobs is even better. Now, you're not going to be lying on your CV. Don't ever lie on your CV. But what you should be doing is making slight modifications and tweaks that are aligned to the job description that you're applying to. Because if you do that, then the chances of you getting that interview and that job offer gets higher, and the chances of you getting sponsored gets much higher. So that's really four main things that you can focus on when you're trying to go from part-time job to a full-time job. And if you're an international student who wants to get full support in getting essentially LinkedIn help, job application help, as well as transitioning from your part-time job to full-time job and getting support with interview prep, I can definitely help you out. Check the link in bio and check the description down below. I'll tell you how you can reach out to me and get my support when you're looking for visa sponsored jobs in the UK. Have a good day, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel.